Welcome, Professor.
You're all going to die down here.
Get to the chopper!
This is DJ Ravenwolf. You're tuned in to the best of hair on KCLA FM 99.3 Los Angeles and around the world on KCLAFM.com and the bestofhairradio.com as well. And in the studio today, it not only is it warm outside, but it's hot in here. We got Tamara Whitmer from Playboy in here, man. Thank you so much for helping us stay warm, man. Tamara's been on a bunch of different things, and we're going to get into that a little bit, but one of the things that I was kind of curious about, and a lot of people are curious about, is the whole mystique around the Playboy thing, from, I guess, being selected as a playmate, and the whole process. There were some pictures I saw on the online site where their photography is amazing. I was telling my friend Leo about that. We do a lot of photography on the red carpet, but these guys seem to be able to match colors with like your hair, whatever piece of clothing you have on. Their whole room matches like you're supposed to be there.
Right, exactly. It's funny because the behind the scenes guys actually build the sets with their own hands.
Really?
And sometimes it takes, 7 or 8 hours. And with the colors and everything, yeah, they do kind of tend to match your hair. And then, like, my background set, my centerfold set I was on, like, supposed to be a Mexican cruise ship, and it looked like very legit waters and a boat and
Wow.
clear blue sky and sunshine, and it was just all painting in a background of boards and stuff.
When well, that was one of the things too. I was looking at some of this stuff I've seen, like in the past, like my friend Kaki. She's got real blonde hair, but she had like this copper-colored necklace with beads and stuff, and everything in the room kind of matched her. Even the colors.
Right.
And I thought they got to digitize that or something because it's just too.
It's real matchy-matchy. That's kind of their whole, I don't know, that's just their thing. That's
Yeah.
what they do. They're real, with the color coordinate. They're very bright colors, and like I remember I had bright pink and blue dangly earrings on, and the whole background matched my earrings.
Isn't that's what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Every little thing, and they
Yeah.
match it. There was one picture of you. The walls were kind of a yellowish green color, and you had a brown thong on, and you were standing like the everything in the walls basically matched your hair color, just matched everything. And then you were standing next to a brown banister, which colored the. It was like
Yeah.
that's amazing.
They do, and they have really good stylists too.
Yeah.
So they kind of match whatever they have to work with. Like in that, I think I know what photo you're talking about. That was like on a stairwell.
Mhm.
So that was actually in a home somewhere that they rented, and then they matched the boots and the jewelry to the banister and like all the woodwork.
So this takes more than just showing up and looking pretty. I mean, there's a lot of thought and a lot of work that goes into this
Yeah,
kind of thing.
definitely.
What's the process like going from, I guess, basically start to finish? Are you
Well-
involved with everything, or do they say, hey, just wear this, and then they do
They
it?
they look at your skin tone and your hair color, and I think they previously have an idea of what they're going to use as the background,
Right.
and then they try to make it coincide with your physical appearance. And then, like for instance, I tend to look good in brighter colors like
Sure.
reds and pinks and blues, so they'll kind of do a theme around that.
Mhm.
And then other people might look better in subdued colors or pastel, so then they'll kind of soften up the shoot a little. It just depends, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of thought that goes into it. And just the hair and makeup process alone is like, it takes forever.
Yeah.
And they'll sometimes spray your entire body just to make it glow, like you
Wow.
look like a fairy tale.
Jeez. So basically, I mean, they've got to have some kind of an art direction in there as to how to match everything all up with you.
Right.
Most of the girls and a lot of the stuff that I've seen, I mean, like I said, it looks natural. It looks like they're supposed to be wherever they're shooting.
Right.
It look kind of out of place if they had you like a lime green suit and you're standing in this. You know, it's just it just looks weird. So the hair and makeup and stuff. Now, do they do several different shoots with different outfits on, or do they keep the same outfit, or what? How do they do all that?
Well, yeah, usually it takes an entire day just to shoot the centerfold, and then for the rest of the small camera, like the other, 6 or 7 pages, that could take up to like a month
Wow, really?
or as little as another week. But in a day, let's say they might do 3 or 4 different outfit changes, and then they just end up picking what works for the theme that they're going
Yeah.
for.
Now, how did they? I mean, how did you get involved with Playboy in the beginning? I mean, did somebody recommend you, or did you just show up, or how does that work?
Well, I am local, so at the time I was doing other modeling as well. So I was doing swimsuit calendars and lingerie catalogs and stuff. So a lot of the photographers that I was shooting with had kind of prompted me into it. They're like, can I submit you to Playboy? And I'm like, no, I was still kind of young and I wanted to wait a little bit.
Yeah.
And so finally, this one photographer that I really like, he's like, you really should do it. If you want me to submit you, I will. And, so I went ahead and then they just called me in for a test. And then after that, I just started shooting and that was that.
So you've now, I think you've been if you were like one of the cyber girls and all this other stuff. I mean, this Playboy's been taking such a weird change lately. But you've been Playmate, what, once or twice, or?
I was a Playmate. I was never a cyber girl, but I kind of jumped into the Playmate, and then the following year I was on the cover just as a Playmate cover shoot, and then I've been in a lot of foreign editions and a couple special editions. So I think total, this was as of a few years ago, I'd been in like 25 different editions. So.
Man.
But yeah, you never really know when you're going to pop up. There's a couple sites I go to occasionally just to see if anything new comes up, but
Sure.
they have all the rights to the photo so they can put you wherever they want.
Oh man. Well, that's an interesting thing. It's your image basically, and it's selling the magazine. Do they pay you just for the shoot, or do you get some kind of residual thing for all of that stuff, or because you're in, I think, the video calendar too, right?
Right. They do all of that. Well, there's like a package for the actual Playmate package. So it's like X amount of money for the centerfold, the small camera, and the video. So everything after that is additional. So like anytime you do another shoot with them, they pay you an additional fee.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you're making some decent money.
Yeah. It turns out in the end to be pretty good amount of money.
Yeah. Now, for those of you listening, and especially for the girls that have been, I've known a lot of girls that being in Playboy is like the goal. It's like the ultimate thing. There's some glamour and stuff to it, but what about your family? Do they? I mean, okay, their daughter's in the magazine.
Right.
What is your family support like?
Well, at first I was kind of skeptic to tell them because they're more conservative and they're really protective over me, and
Sure.
I've always kind of been their little girl, and so like when I had to like break the news, but they already kind of had found out a little bit, but they were not happy
Yeah.
in the beginning. But then as time went on, it's a thing from my past. It's something I did. I'm sure they're happy for me deep down somewhere, but in the beginning it was kind of an issue.
Yeah.
But
Why did you do Playboy? I mean, what was it? I don't know. I guess some girls are like, the modeling is one thing, but being in Playboy is a completely different thing. What was it that made you go to Playboy?
Well, because at the time, I was young and I just wanted to explore any avenue that I could as long as, it was reputable
Yeah.
and on the up and up. I wasn't going to go into like dive face first into porn or anything, but
Yeah, so to speak.
but I thought, yeah. But I thought Playboy was a good, transition at that point because I had already had a few other things under my belt, and I'm like,
Right.
hey, why not? This would be fun.
Yeah, and it seemed to be working out for you. You're doing a lot of different things since then, right?
Yeah, it kept me pretty busy for a while, and I've done a little bit of work with Playboy TV
Yeah.
and Playboy Radio a couple times, and just odd shoots here and there that for like different editions.
Right.
Of
You seem like a very quiet and relaxed person. I can't imagine. I went to school with this girl back in high school. Her name was Adriana, and she was very quiet, didn't say anything to anybody, but she's really cute. And after we graduated, everybody kind of kept in touch, but she kind of fell off the edge of the earth somewhere. And it wasn't until maybe 15 years later that we found out she was a penthouse supermodel and did all these things. And like, I sat next to her in math class. She wouldn't say nothing.
That's funny. No,
Crazy.
it's true. I think myself. I can relate to that. I'm like very shy in my personal life, but and I was always shy in school too. But I don't think it has to do so much with your personality in that aspect. I think even the quiet ones kind of like have their ambitions, and everybody. Some people might be afraid. Oh, like I can't believe you would actually do that. So they would rather just not tell anyone.
Yeah.
Or just keep it to themselves, and then. But I don't know. Everyone's different.
I figured the quiet girls are like, well, screw it. I'm just gonna do it, and just and shock everybody. Some people do it out of rebellion. I met a couple girls that, they had bad relationships, so they went and did Playboy and like, ha,
Oh, really? Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. For those of you listening, we're talking with Tamara Whitmer. She's been in Playboy, and she is currently involved with Millionaire Matchmaker, which you can see on Bravo. It's on one of those dating sites for, I guess, millionaire guys.
Yeah, it's a show on Bravo, and it's Patty Stanger's the matchmaker, and she tries to match up pairs based on her decision, and then the man ultimately kind of has to choose between the selection of women, and then for whatever the reason and whatever the challenges are there, it wasn't really that challenging. It was actually really entertaining. It's going to air, I think, not next week, but I think the week after that.
Yeah.
I know in the next like 2 or 3 weeks it should air. So.
Man. Okay, so being on the set and being around all these women and fighting for this guy, I mean, you've seen some of the other reality shows. Is there a lot of drama involved? I mean, there's yeah, he's a millionaire, but I've learned even with the women that money isn't everything. They could be the biggest jerk in the world.
Right, exactly. And no, it's funny because we never even met. Like they kind of twisted it this season a little bit. So we didn't even actually get to see the person.
Wow.
It was just based on like questions from behind a screen.
Really?
Yeah, it was kind of bizarre, but I mean, I guess they had their reason for doing that. But no, as far as like comparing it to other drama reality, it wasn't nearly as bad. Like I was on Rock of Love, which was really bad. Like that's really drama.
Yeah.
So compared to that, no, this was a piece of cake.
Yeah. When they were putting shows like this together now, you've done stuff with Playboy where you're used to cameras and you're used to makeup and all the whole deal. Is television a lot similar to that, or is it a completely different thing, or what?
Television for me has always been a little bit more of an effort. I mean, behind a still camera just posing for photos and having your hair and makeup and everything's kind of done for you. But on television, it's like way more candid. So, you can steal the spotlight by hogging all the attention, or, you just kind of sit back and wait for it, which doesn't usually work. So, like, you have to really be more aggressive for television.
They kind of want the drama. They want the dirt. They want, a show.
Exactly.
A lot of people are always asking, especially they've seen like Gene Simmons and stuff like that. A lot of that stuff is, they call it reality, but it's